Hello, welcome to the Gloria Bailey Ray Show. Guys, I'm so excited to be here today. I'm going to say to all of you who are into celebrating Halloween, happy Halloween to you. In honor of you, I decided to wear my orange hat. But more importantly, you know what? We've got a great show for you today, as always. And so I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in. The show, the Gloria Bailey Ray Show, is about providing you, the viewer, relevant, fact based, mainstream information to help you be informed and to make informed decisions. We stream live on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and our show is interactive. And I love that about this particular show. And what does that mean? That means that if you have questions or comments for the guests, or about the show, you can place them in the comment section. We'll do our very best to respond to your questions and or your comments. Look, I always like to give a quick shout out to all of my viewers and sponsors, both nationally and internationally. I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in. And I'm just going to have to say, look, my brothers and sisters in Africa, you guys are blowing me up. Thank you so much for tuning in. And I want you guys to know how much I appreciate you. I really and truly do. I appreciate you. You know, as excuse me, I am getting over a cold. Who goes on vacation and comes back with a cold? I do, of course. So I want to just remind all of you guys that if you miss this particular episode of the Gloria Bailey Show, you can always go back to YouTube. You can rewatch the show. Not only rewatch it, you guys, but rewatch it, share it, comment, like all of those things. If you're inquiring and wanting to know about sponsorship opportunities, you know what? You can go to gloriabaileyray.com and, touch base with me and we'll give you some information. And I invite you to add the Gloria Bailey Ray Show to your list of weekly shows to watch. You heard me say early on that our show is about providing you, the viewer, with information that is relevant. It is important. And I can't say enough about my guest today, Miss Tashana Ross. The work that Miss Ross is doing with Courageous Women Association, par none, is something that I hear people talk about all the time. But, as that saying goes, talk is cheap, but it's about being about it. And in case you're wondering, it's not an easy feat for someone to take on and to start an organization that is focused around enhancing and uplifting women. I want you to just think about these things for a moment. We're talking about services that provides empowering survivors, and that's crucial. Empowering women and child survivors of domestic violence, sexual assault, prostitution, human trafficking, and other traumatic experiences. Listen, to have someone that is willing to open their arms and to provide a safe and supportive environment for these survivors to heal and regain control over their lives, there, I can't say enough. Then, in addition to that, we're talking about the comprehensive support that they provide, the economic empowerment that they provide. Then there's the piece around housing solution, healing, recovering, education awareness, and the list goes on and on. So here's what I want to tell you. My guest today, Ms. Tashana Ross, she's a resilient advocate for women and children's rights. She works to bring awareness to the importance of ending the cycle of violence and exploitation against women and children. Guys, please help me in joining and welcoming Miss Tashana Ross. I'm so excited to have her here with me. Tashana, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad to be here. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I guess you could say we go back a long ways.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's been a
and
while.
I've been thinking on that, and when I reached out to you, I was like, wow. I think I remember when you first started this organization,
Yeah.
and as life would have it, it takes us in different places and things, but I am
Yeah.
so elated that we were able to connect. And I really want to talk about what it is that you do. And so, you heard me kind of give an overview of what I think. When I hear that someone like you doing these kinds of things, I mean, I can't say enough. And I still
Yeah.
don't think there's not a lot to be said. Look, I put on my But God shirt today
Yeah.
because all you can say is but God, okay?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
has brought us through.
Yeah.
So let's
Yeah.
just start with you telling our viewers about Courageous Women Association and the programs you offer.
Well, first of all, what people need to know is that I too am a survivor, and that's where it started from. I founded Courageous Women based off of my own bout of being a survivor of multiple traumas. I'm a survivor of domestic violence. I was almost murdered. I'm a survivor of rape. I'm a survivor of sexual assault. I'm a survivor of homelessness. Um, and up until recently, what I didn't realize that came to light was um, I'm a survivor of um, near human trafficking as a child. I was being groomed for sex trafficking. It had been suppressed, and I didn't realize that until my adulthood. So, a child of multiple traumas. Um, and I had been in hiding for years. And it was something that had been innate in me to do, was to be able to gather women around, to be able to support other women who had undergone the same sufferings as I had. And I knew that I wanted to build something, um, some safe haven, some way to be able to support other survivors like I, and to create a support system um, of healing for other survivors to be able to get through and to be able to heal beyond, um, you know, their trauma. And so that's where Courageous Women Association came about. And I founded it back in 2008, and it grew to being able to support over 1,000 women and children annually through the services that we provide of the free shopping, pampering, and community outreach. That's an annual event that literally serves over 1,000 women and children um, each year in October in combination with Domestic Violence Awareness Month. We have our recurring career development and economic empowerment program. We have our resume and interview assistance program, our Sister to Sister Empowerment and Enrichment Alliance, which is our support groups that we hold, our community outreach and education, sexual violence counseling and domestic violence counseling. We provide court and hospital accompaniments. We also have transitional housing called the Courage House Transitional Home for women and children who have been impacted by domestic violence, sexual assault, human trafficking, and former incarceration, as well as homelessness. So we provide various programs and services to women and children impacted by trauma.
Wow. Uh, Tashana, that's a lot.
Yeah, yeah,
It
it
really
is.
is. It's a lot. But listening to you and your story, um, I not only am I like just touched by it, but there are things like I said when we met. These are things that I didn't know, right?
Yeah.
And I guess a couple of weeks ago, I did just a segment on domestic violence, being a victim, having been a victim of domestic violence.
Mhm.
And I always say when people don't know your story, They really, that's so true. They can't revel in your glory. They can't look at where you are now. And not
Yeah.
that you're ever looking back, you're forever looking forward. But hearing you talk about what
Hmm.
happened and has happened to you, and guess
Hmm.
what? You're a survivor.
Hmm.
And that's
Yeah.
what I want people to know is that, there's help out there. You
Hmm.
can and you will survive. And
Yeah.
that's the piece. And so hearing you say that, I hope my viewers, you guys are seeing that I have been posting up a GoFundMe link, and I pray that each of you guys know, instead of you spending $70, $80 to go get your nails done this week, I need you to go to this GoFundMe page and help to support what it is that they are doing, right? Because it's not easy. I know it's not easy. And
Yeah.
fundraising is always at the top of the list. And there are
Hmm.
always people in need. And so you guys, I know some of you got maybe some aunts, some uncles, some sisters, some girlfriends, some sister friends that they may
Hmm.
not be talking about what's happening to them, but they need to know that these resources are available to them. And in order for them to be available, they need your support. So I just had to put that plug in there because I know how important it is. So you were talking about the different programs. When you talk about the Courageous House Transitional House Program, so
Uh-huh.
let's start with that, and then we'll also talk about that GoFundMe campaign, and then we're going to get into a couple of other things in between some commercials. So can you talk to the viewers about the Courage House Transitional Program?
Yeah, so the Courage House transitional program, like I said, is for specifically for women and children who've been impacted um, um, by domestic violence, by trauma in general. We're about trauma informed care. So it's for women and children who've been impacted by anywhere from domestic violence, specifically, to prostitution and human trafficking, homelessness, or former incarceration. So it's a 2-year program, independent living, um, and we're completely focused on healing first. That's what we're focused on. So, we take them in and it's all about their healing. We're all about the component of healing. So, the program is literally, we're providing support services, case management. Um, it's the healing and recovering first, the first model approach through our weekly support groups, individual counseling, case management. Um, we provide finance literacy, credit counseling, mindful meditation practices, goal setting. We create a life plan with them. So we'll sit down and create a full life plan. There's various workshops that's centered around trauma, healing, coping, life skills, well being. We also partner with outside agencies and individuals to facilitate some of the workshops. Um, and they'll do some workshops up to 4 times out of the full year, as well. So we'll make sure that we're all about seeing them win. So we want to make sure that the end goal is to see them not only heal, but to come out with permanent housing, with access to full-time jobs, whatever that is in terms of their goal and whatever that life plan is.
Mhm.
And that's what the Courage House is about.
Oh, wow, 2-year program. And what's neat about that, Tashana, is a lot of times it's kind of like I had a guest on and we were talking about drug recovery, right?
Mhm.
And it's not a process of where you enter into a program for 30 days and you come out and
Yeah,
everything is peachy king. It's not like that. And so I
yeah,
like the idea that it's long term, because
yeah,
then you're actually able to make changes, see those changes,
yeah,
and for them to really embrace those particular changes, and it does take time. So,
Yeah.
2 years, it may for some people say, "Oh, it's a long time," but 24 months, if you're really looking to change your life,
Yeah.
that totally, to me, makes sense. And then I would imagine that there's still ongoing, checkpoints
Yeah.
and things, for them. So it's not like we just turn you loose and that's it. And I
Right.
love the fact the financial literacy because we all know that when women are empowered, and I'm saying women, y'all, I'm talking women, when women
Mhm.
are empowered, empowered women, empowered mothers, they
That's
actually
right.
have empowered children
Yeah.
and the things that I think back to growing up as a kid and,
Mhm.
financial literacy wasn't something that was really discussed in my home. It
Right.
wasn't, your mom did whatever she did or your dad, and they made it work, but it
Mhm.
is so critical. And
Right.
so I love the fact to hear you say that and to know
Yeah.
that. So thank
Yeah.
you so much for
Yeah.
and look, it's not just you just come
Yeah.
in and you run through and we're turning
Yeah.
you loose.
Right.
So,
And we use a model that's more of a speak to the heart from the heart model.
mm,
So our model is more of it's a personable approach. So we interweave our own personal experiences into that to be more personable. So, if I'm infusing my own personal story and history of my own trauma, you
mhm,
know, it's more relatable to their
right,
experiences and they get it more.
right.
It's working at their very core, right,
Mhm,
and their very essence, and it helps them to see that it's more of that human approach, right?
mhm,
So it's not just me coming out and it's not them sitting in a class being taught by an instructor and reading a piece of paper. It's
right.
literally being taught raw, and this is what I've come from, and this is
Mhm,
it's getting that raw interactive you know approach that is, oh, you've been there, okay,
right.
I get it.
Right.
So yeah.
Absolutely. As
Yeah. So,
opposed to somebody said, look, if you haven't walked in my shoes, right? I tell people all the
yeah.
time, I've never been hungry. You can't talk to me.
Yeah.
If
and
you-
and and I've learned this lesson because what's crazy about this is that my journey was not this was not the journey that I thought I was supposed to take in life. Like,
Mhm,
I had no idea or no knowledge. I literally had no knowledge or understanding about nonprofit. I didn't even know the nonprofit world. Like, my journey for me was I was literally in the middle of writing a business plan for a fast food restaurant, right? Because I love business. That's like where I
right.
wanted to go in life. And
Mhm,
then God, or what other people might think or know as like the universe, right,
right.
literally pulled me and moved me in a whole different direction.
Mhm,
So when people think of their pain as being like, why me, Lord, why me? I understood my pain
mm,
as this
mm,
is what I'm supposed to use to teach others. And so I knew that my lot or my life's path was supposed to be to use that pain to move me in the direction of this nonprofit, of this work. So
mm.
now I know what my path is or what my lot is in life. And
Yeah.
now it's like I don't see my life going any other way except but to serve others, if
Mhm,
that
mhm.
makes sense.
Absolutely, it
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah.
You find yourself saying, God, well, like you said, we get on that path. This is what I'm
Yeah.
gonna do, right?
Yeah.
This is where I'm supposed to be. And it turns
Right.
out that you have no it's just like that's not the plan that God has for you. And the thing is, you
Yeah.
were obedient. You recognize that,
Yeah.
and hearing you talk about it, and as you said, 2008, here you are, you're still standing. See, that's
Yeah.
the thing. Nobody told us that we weren't going to have some tumultuous times. You weren't
Yeah.
going to go through some changes, some ups and downs, but I still say, but. But
Yeah.
God, you're
Yeah.
here. Look at you.
Yeah.
Look at
Yeah.
you. So we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, I want us to talk about your GoFundMe campaign. And I think that it's like I said, it's important. Thank you, San Antonio, for being here, and that we talk about what it is and what your goals are as it relates to that. So don't go anywhere, you guys. Thank you so much for being here. If you have questions for my guests, you guys know the deal. Place your comments in the section, and we'll get to them. You are tuned into the Gloria Bailey Ray Show with my awesome guest, Mr. Shauna Ross. We'll be right back, guys. Don't go anywhere.
I'm an ex-drug dealer, and I'll be your sub today. 2 milligrams of fentanyl can be lethal. A lethal dose is in here. Who gets it, I won't know.
It's cheap, it's potent, and it's profitable.
The sad reality is fentanyl is being mixed into everything now.
More kids should know.
Every day, thousands of kids start vaping. And I can't let this happen to my kid. So if you want to talk to your kids, you have to get it trending.
No, you're doing it wrong.
Let's go.
Can we talk?
Yeah, what's up?
Visit talkaboutvaping.org for tips on when and how to have the vape talk.
My Shiro doesn't always wear a cape, but she always has time for a hug, a smile, for going the extra mile. My Shiro stretches every dollar, puts in long hours, puts others first. But now it's your time, Mom. When you're ready to retire, we want you to be able to enjoy it. It's time to start saving now. A free 3-minute online chat can give you the personalized tips you need to start boosting your retirement savings today. Visit aceyourretirement.org/Shiro.
All right. Thank you guys so much for hanging in here with me. If you're just joining us, I am talking with Miss Tashana Ross, who is the founder. She's a founder of Courageous Women Association. And we're talking about what it is that she does. You guys, it's near and dear to my heart because the type of work that is so needed. And it's something that it's almost like until it happens to you, who's paying attention? There are a lot of people paying attention. And that's why Miss Ross is on this show. She's been talking to us about what her organization does. And before we went to break, we talked about some of the things that her organization needs and what she's doing to fundraise. And so I left it with you, Tashana, to talk about the GoFundMe campaign that you currently have going on right now. Can you tell the viewers about that?
Yeah. So our GoFundMe campaign is to raise money for our transitional home, the Courage House. So what people don't realize is that a year ago, we actually did a GoFundMe to save the Courage House because we almost lost the Courage House because of lack of funding, low funding. We were literally almost about to close our doors, and the ladies that we had at our home were about to be displaced. So we were able, from the Oakland, then Oakland Mayor Schaaf, they provided us a platform on the news, and we were able to be on the news outlets, and we were able to raise enough money to save our home for another year, while we were able to write some grants, even through the city of Oakland, to be able to save our home for another year. Like a lot of places in the Bay Area, we struggle with the high cost of rent, and we're challenged with unstable employment for some of the residents who actually contribute a portion of their incomes to our housing expenses. And so we're always at risk of losing our home. And our residents are always at risk of returning to the traumas that they've worked, really hard to put behind them. So we always continue to provide safe housing, safety, judgment-free support to not only the women and children who have an income, but those who are always fleeing from harmful environments. And that's with the help of the people like you who donate to our GoFundMe. And that's why we're bringing out the GoFundMe again for this year, because we're constantly working on, writing grants to help support, the home. And it's a struggle for us because grant writing is really hard. We're constantly, from day to day, trying to search for, ways to fund the home to keep us moving and thriving. And oftentimes, the best way for us to do it is through fundraising efforts, because grants don't always come through. And unfortunately, we're still waiting on the city to support our efforts. It's unfortunate, but we're still waiting to get the support from the city of Oakland. So we have to look at other means to help, fund us, and that's where we are right now.
Right. And that's what brings us to you running a GoFundMe campaign for
Yes.
this. And so I want to say to all of you that watch this and will watch it afterwards, because I understand the time difference, please just, again, you can see that the GoFundMe up there, gofund.me/31C28E9F. Guys, look, there's no amount that's too small. And I think sometimes when people see that, they're thinking, there have been times when I've only been able to fund $25. But imagine if you had 2,000 people that funded $25.
Yeah, that makes a difference.
It makes a
Yeah.
huge difference. And if I am correct, Tashana, when we're talking about, what you're doing, we still have to add in food.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm certain that the women and children that are there, they're just, the things that we take for granted, whether it's, detergent for clothes,
Yeah.
clothing in itself, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I also read on your website that gift cards, you welcome gift cards as well. So those are things, guys, I'm just asking you from the bottom of my heart to yours to really think about this, because you know what? It could be you or one of your family members or one of your children. You just never know. See, that's the interesting thing. If you had ever told me that I would ever be beat up and hit and broken bones and all of that, I would have said, no way. But guess what? It happens. And most women are so embarrassed to even talk about it, to tell the story. So, just find it within your heart. I know holiday times are coming up and everybody's all excited, but I want you to get excited about the fact that you're doing something and making a difference in someone's life. And you can do that by giving to the Courageous Women Association, by donating to their GoFundMe. So thank you.
I call it 6 degrees of separation. 6
Right.
degrees of separation. Either you're directly impacted or indirectly impacted by trauma, right? Or someone that you know, or someone in your family, or friend has been directly or indirectly impacted by trauma, right?
Yeah. And you're absolutely correct. I mean, absolutely correct. So guys, I'm asking for Tashana. And she didn't put me up to this, but I'm just so moved to be able to do that. So, Tashana, let me switch gears for a minute. So let's talk about the career development and placement opportunities that you offer. How do you ensure that individuals have access to long-term economic resources. Can you talk about that a little bit, please?
Yeah, so actually, the Career Development and Economic Empowerment Program we provide, that's the one program that we actually open up to both that support individuals, parents, and it's open up to non-binary and gender diverse people who are impoverished, unemployed, homeless, veterans, disabled, undocumented, formerly incarcerated, or in recovery. These participants who successfully complete the program, we give out, our incentives are incredible. So we give out free suits. We'll give out a whole wardrobe of suits, computers. They're refurbished, but we do give away free computers, business essentials, and certificates of completion during the formal graduation ceremony. So we do something a little different that actually I don't know if anyone's ever done before. So I don't know, Gloria, if I can give a little backstory on this first.
Yeah, absolutely.
If that's
Go for
okay.
it. Go for
So,
it. Yes.
so how courageous women is, everything comes to me spiritually. I don't know if I could say that, but I'm saying it now.
You can
so
say that.
So everything along the way has come to me spiritually. So either by a dream or by a vision. And when it comes in floods. So how the programs actually come about, they come to me in visions or dreams, and it's incredible. So I was actually in a 7-Eleven one day, and a gentleman walked in with no shirt, no shoes on, and he came in the store and he screamed out, "I want a job, give me a job." And I was just there observing. I didn't say anything, but I'm a big observer, right? And the guy behind the counter says, "Get out of my store, get out of my store." But the guy continuously kept saying, "I want a job, I want a job." So I stepped up at the counter, I purchased the items that I needed to purchase, and then I left out. But I left out just thinking about what transpired, right? So I go home, I go to bed, and I have a dream or a vision, right? I wake up the next day, and then all of a sudden my hand starts going on the paper, right? I start having a vision, and then it comes to life. So in my vision goes that this career development program that comes about in my vision, it says, wow, we need to have this career development for people, right? Especially for the homeless community. But what things are most important for this community of people? Well, what comes to mind or what comes to my spirit is image and etiquette, right? Proper communication, right? Social skills, conflict resolution, how to market oneself, right? Finance management, social media networking, computer literacy, resume writing and critique, successful interviewing, mindful meditation, introduction to entrepreneurship, housing education, health and wellness. These things came to my spirit.
Wow.
And those are the things we started teaching. But then I started thinking one more. Let me reach out to those business leaders. So I started reaching out to people on LinkedIn, business leaders, professionals, even people like, mothers at home or individuals that were at home doing, that were, just hanging out at home, that knew how to do resumes. Right. Let me reach out to these people to see if they would volunteer their time to come out and teach a course on these very core things that came to my spirit. And when I did that, all these people started responding back, hey, I'm not a professional, but I know a little something about image or etiquette. And I said, you don't have to be a professional, but you may know something about this. And maybe you might want to teach something. So people started coming and started saying, well, what would you like me to teach about? I said, well, you come and bring yourself and talk about something that's personal to you. So bring yourself and bring something from your heart and talk about something that's relatable to you that you can relate with them on.
Right.
So make it personable. So when they started understanding when I spoke on in that language, then it was, so speak to the heart from the heart. I get it. So I'm not here to teach them a lesson because I'm not a teacher. I'm not an actual instructor. Okay, I'm going to be practical and real. This is what I know. So it started. So all of a sudden, I started getting not 10 people, not 20 people, but 100 people started coming to our courses.
Wow.
And it became all these groups, and people from nonprofits started coming in. Well, can we come in and can we bring our people? And then different cities started asking us to come and bring our career development to them. And then different, some of the mayors and city councilmen started asking if they can come and sit in on our courses. And then it started growing it to the tune where, the council members and the mayors from different cities started participating. And it was just, it's been incredible. But COVID hit. And when COVID hit, right?
COVID.
Yeah, good old COVID, right? Because the 100% of the people that we cater to are homeless, right? Because they're all impacted by trauma and they're homeless, that community of people, and we're dealing with COVID, we really lost pretty much that core group of people because everybody was about in person. So having this kind of a platform of Zoom was just not possible for us. What's possible is for the people that we support be in person. And that was really challenging for us. So we lost pretty much all of our, the people that we supported during the meat of COVID, during the basic, all of COVID, basically. So we were in the middle of our courses, of all of our, programs, from our, support groups to our career development. And the second COVID hit, we had to shut down everything. And we lost a large core of all of our audience. And we had to shift all of our focus to our transitional home during that time, because again, we could not support in person for the homeless community whatsoever. And that was, that's the meat or the core of all the people that we served during that time. So that was hard. So now we're getting back to that structure now, although COVID is still alive, we're just starting to come out and, starting to get back into bringing those programs and services back. But again, we were doing great, incredible work with the communities of people. And it wasn't just serving Oakland, California. We were serving the Bay Area as a whole because of all of the incredible work we were doing. It was just amazing. Man, we were blowing people out the water with the work we were doing. And, it was just amazing. It was amazing.
Well,
Like I was loving it.
and I believe that that's all going to come back. I think people are now comfortable. They understand, the things that, although it's, to me, it should be second nature. Even something as basic as hand washing and covering your mouth when you sneeze and cough, or coughing in your sleeve. But people are aware, and I believe that that's going to come back, and come back even more, to Sean. I just believe that. And it's
Yeah.
interesting that you say, I just told you I'm from the South. We were raised,
Yeah.
Christian. So let me just tell you what God has. Can't nobody take it away, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
no need to say, can I do it? Speak on
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
because you know that when you share how you've been blessed, it
Mhm.
blesses other people. It does you
Yeah.
no good to hold on to it and just kind of think about it. And so
Yeah.
there's your blessing right there, and that's going to come back to you more than tenfold. So
Yeah.
I'm just claiming that for you right now. Okay. So can we just agree on that? So
Yeah.
let's just talk about, and I love that. And by the way, here's my shameless plug. Call me. I'm definitely there, helping, training, teaching. So, you can call on me, and I mean that. Okay.
Sure
So
will.
how about success stories? Can you share some success stories of our examples of individuals who've experienced complete healing and recovery through your organization's services?
Yeah.
Okay.
Um, so so I know that through so for example, so just alone from the Career Development and Economic Empowerment Program, um, we had over 60% of the participants have gained employment or advanced in their careers. 18% of them continued their education based on the resources, the tools, and the skills provided them. 52% of our residents in our transitional home have moved into permanent housing within the first year of our program. We had 66% of our residents found and maintained permanent jobs. 70% of our residents are actively applying the tools and skills learned through support groups and sharing with others. It's just been an incredible ride all around. I've had just hearing some of the stories. There's been I hear individual stories from women. There's like I hear stories from women that they actually utilize some of the tools that they've learned along the way, and they actually share them with their communities, which has been incredible. I love hearing those stories
Mm-hmm.
from some of the ladies. There's one particular story that 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 I love. I remember at our free shopping and pampering day, we actually annually, like I said, we'll get over 1,000 women and children, and literally in the day. And we would partner with the bus companies, and we'll bus in between 300 and 500 of the women and children as well to the event.
Wow.
And there was one day where we didn't have buses, and I remember the volunteers wanting to utilize their cars, their vehicles, to go and drive to the shelters, pick up women, and bring them back and forth
Wow.
to the event. And I used my vehicle as well. And I remember I wanted to drive, so I drove, some of the ladies back and forth. And I remember, I love to serve, right? I'm a servant. So I don't tell people anything about me or anything. I just get in the car and go. So I remember on this one journey, I got in the car and I was driving a group of women back, to their destinations after they had gotten all their goodies of their shopping experience and everything. And I remember I'm just an Uber driver. And I remember I'm driving and I'm listening to the ladies behind me tell their stories of how great the event was. And, oh, what did you get? What did you get? Now, these ladies didn't know anything about each other. They're just sharing their stories about how great the event was. And, oh, what did you get? Oh my gosh, I had a good time. And, oh, I would love to get to know this Tashana. And I'm just listening like, oh my gosh, they know my name, right? But I didn't say anything. They're like, I would love to know this Tashana. And I would, if I knew who she was, I would just want to get out and hug her. And I'm just smiling and grinning. And they're telling their stories. And then they started telling their domestic violence stories and their stories of abuse. And I'm really just taking it all in.
Wow.
And so as they're sharing their stories, one of the ladies says, well, I'm just so happy because I got new teeth. And everybody looked and they're like, what? She says, you don't understand. I have new teeth. And she says, I'm beautiful. I'm beautiful. And they're saying, wait, what? She says, you don't understand. She says, just a month ago, she says, I'm getting emotional again. Oh my God, I didn't realize I get triggered like this. She says, she said, I think a couple months ago, she says, my abuser broke out all of my teeth. And she says, God bless me because she says, I ran into a dentist who offered to fix my teeth for me. And she said, and then this Miss Tashana got created. She said, all of a sudden, she created this event just for me. She said, and I got pampered for the very first time. She said, I've never been pampered in my entire life. And she said, I got my hair done. She said, I got a makeover. She said, I did shopping. She said, and this Miss Tashana gave me my first time to be pampered. She said, I've never been pampered before. And she said, look at me. She says, I'm beautiful. And she says, I just want to meet this Miss Tashana and give her a hug.
Look, it's
and
hard.
So she said, yeah.
Over here.
Yeah. So I'm trying to hold together myself. So then she says, so they stop and they said, well, who are you, Miss Driver? Who are you? And so, of course, I can't lie. So I looked at him and I said, well, my name is Tashana and I'm the driver. And they said, Tashana, stop the car, stop the car, stop the car. So I stopped the car and all the ladies gave me the biggest hug and embraced me. And I think we stood there for at least like 3 minutes crying and hugging and embracing one another. And she was just loving on me and just telling me just how grateful and thankful she was. And that was something that I will never forget. And I think this was probably about 8 years ago. We're now 15 years into this experience.
And that solidified why you do what you do and why you can't quit. I mean, that right there, that says it all. So I mean, just even hearing that, and I don't even know how you held it all together, but you did. And that's the thing. So look, we're going to take another quick break. I told you time flies when we're talking, right? But one of the things that I want to make sure that we cover is, the collaboration that you have with other organizations, but what are your future plans and goals, for Courageous Women Association and what you want people to take away? So guys, it gives me a chance to dap my eyes here a little bit. Tashana decides she's going to drop that tearjerker on us. We're going to take a really quick break. So I thank you guys so much for hanging in here and tuning in with my awesome guest, Miss Tashana Ross, who's, the founder and executive director for Courageous Women Association. Guys, don't go anywhere. We We'll be right back. Thank you.
Because the fight isn't over yet.
You will see me choose to protect my community by wearing a face cover.
And even with my face covered,
you will see me.
As a son.
As a man with a never quit attitude.
As a fighter for change.
Join me in wearing a face cover.
To help stop the spread of the coronavirus.
Because this is one small act of kindness
that has the power to make a big difference.
Get it, slip it, cuff it, check it. High blood pressure silently affects millions of Americans. Staying on top of your blood pressure is as simple as these 4 easy steps. Self-monitoring is power. Visit manageyourbp.org to learn more.
All right. I want to thank you guys so much for hanging in here. We had to go to break. I'm like tearing up listening to Shauna's story here. If you guys are just tuning in, please allow me to encourage you to go back and to watch the entire interview with Ms. Tashana Ross, who is the founder and executive director of Courageous Women Association. Shout out real quick to Vic Fields, just an awesome jazz artist. If you guys don't know about him, check him out. But Tashana, before we went to break, one of the things that I said that I wanted to have you kind of touch base on is to, talk about your collaboration. And believe it or not, you actually covered some of that with some of the organizations, I think, that you were saying that you kind of work with. But, I guess what I'm looking for is to talk about how important it is to have an effective support system, as it relates to all of the individual needs, because everyone's different that comes through your doors and everyone have different needs. And at the same time, I'm going to tag on the significance of having permanent housing. It's no secret here in California, housing is out of control. And, when you've got so many unhoused, that it is so critical. And by doing that, it's, it has to do with not only safety, security, but I think also in terms of just mentally being helpful to know that you're in a much better and a safer space. So can you just kind of speak briefly to those 2 things?
Yeah. And that's why transitional housing is always key or is good, because it helps them to transition into the permanent housing, and it'll give people the time enough and the space to be able to, look for permanent housing, or to get on the wait list, or to, get on the housing list and to prepare and ready themselves to get to permanent housing as well. So, the transitional housing is a good segue into permanent housing. So that would be a good thing. And transitional housing too, is at least 1 year to 2 years as well. So that's a good segue into the permanent housing portion. But yeah, it's definitely key to partner with other nonprofits and other organizations as well. I partner all the time with, places like A Diamond in the Rough or Serenity House, Men of Influence, 211.org. I get on the 211.org list all the time. I work with, the city. I work with the housing authority. We partner all the time because they definitely send people over to us. The other organizations, we bounce people off of each other. If I can't take in people that are specific to the needs of our transitional home, I definitely refer them out to the other organizations and vice versa. We help with resources with each other. We help with grants with each other. Serenity House and myself, as well as a Diamond in the Rough and myself, we're always bouncing off, grants, between us, and whenever we're finding grants, because it's challenging, again, to find funding. So when we're finding funding, we're like, hey, here's funding, the Black Infant Health Program, the same thing. If there's funding around, they're shooting funding back and forth between us. So it's definitely good to partner, and to partner on those grants as well, because it's very helpful to be a partnership in terms of grants, because you might be better able to get a grant if you're multiple organizations on a grant. We're trying to do that right now, to see if we can better be able to get a grant currently, rather than me being a single entity trying to get a grant. So yeah, these are key elements. It's extremely key and important, to be able to partner with other organizations. Yeah.
So as it relates to your future plans or goals, do you have expansion in mind? And if so, what type of expansion services are you talking about or looking at? And is it just for, women, or is it women and children? Look, Tashana, in 60 seconds or less. So, can you share some information about that, please?
Expansion has always been at the forefront of my mind, even before Courageous Women came to be. So in my spirit and my heart, I've always wanted to provide permanent housing and jobs. I literally have a list of businesses that I want to expand and grow to, so I can be able to provide jobs, not just for the women that we serve, but for the community of homeless and unhoused folks. So I definitely have a plan of attack that I want to do. And I have a method to bring these women from transitional housing to permanent housing, with a full plan of action. But again, we need the capital and we need a full team. So we are looking to recruit people onto our board to help lead our board of directors. So if anyone's interested in being on our 7-member board, we have board seats available. And we are looking to grow, and we're looking to, get capital and funding for it. So, we need that funding to be able to grow. So,
Right.
yeah.
So my last question to you, Tashana, is what is it that you want people who are watching the show today, what do you want them to take away from today's show?
Well, to know that, it's, as nonprofits, it's challenging, and the nonprofit world is challenging. Where, it's hard to do what we do. It's a great work, and a great challenge to support the very people that we support. And it's hard to be able to go after the capital that we need to be sustainable, and to achieve what we need to achieve. And it takes a village. It really does. So it's good that we continue to receive the support, whether it's volunteering, whether it's monetary, whether it's in-kind donations, just to have that support from people like you all, to just, be there to back us and be there to be supportive of us and to continue to support us all the way. That's always helpful for us to keep us going.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Tashana. I want to show you one viewer actually said, great show. My appreciation to Miss Tashana Ross for doing God's work. It takes a special person to be fully committed and invested in this type of work. You are a blessing. So,
Thank you. Thank you.
yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, for that. So, Tashana, I'm going to say, I don't want you to go anywhere. All right. I'm going to be right back. And I want to say to my viewers, first of all, I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in here today. It is always my prayer that something has been said that's inspirational, that's motivational, and it's educational that will help you to do and to be a part of what we all have going on here. For those of you, I want to say again, who feel like that this is an opportunity to, what was the word that I think you used, to promote myself, then you don't know me. And I just want to say to you, I feel sorry for you that you can't see and visualize the things that we're trying to do here. And as the saying goes, it always only takes one to pull everybody down into the barrel. But our show today is about helping you to become informed, be educated, and to make informed decisions. I want to thank my guest, Mr. Shauna Ross, for being here. She has been absolutely awesome. You guys have been seeing me flash throughout her GoFundMe. Please, 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 as we said, even if you only have, I said 25, if you only have $10, but just think of the difference if, 10 people, 100 people, 200 people gave $10 to her work at Courageous Women Association, what that will do. I want to remind all of you guys that every Tuesday, I want you to put it on your calendar, set it up, make it an event every Tuesday from 5 to 6 p.m. to join me. I will always have an awesome show for you. And I wanted to let you know that I appreciate all of you. I thank you for your love and for your support. I'm going to ask that you be sure and follow me on all of my social media pages, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram. On Instagram, I am the authentic_coach. And if you'd like to support the work that I am doing here, please inquire about sponsorship opportunities by going to www.gloriabaileyray.com and connect with me. Listen, it's always a blessing. And I always say this, if you didn't take anything away from today's show, then it's really you who didn't get the memo. So thank you guys so much. Go out and be safe tonight, the rest of the week. And I just always encourage you that no matter what you do, always be a blessing to somebody else. Pay it forward. I'm Gloria Bailey Ray, your host. I thank God for each and every one of you. Until this time next week, be well. God bless.